Hello and happy Thursday. Welcome to today's live training, wherever you are watching from, whether you are watching from Instagram, whether you're watching in the Clinical Connections Mentoring Facebook, hello, or maybe you're watching from YouTube. Thank you for being here. As always, I am really happy to be here today. Thank you. I'm very thankful for you for joining, for watching this training just to hear my 2 cents. So I do thank you for that. Today's topic is all about overwhelm. And I want to talk about overwhelm mostly because everybody experiences it at some point. And also because overwhelm is a slippery slope toward burnout, and helping you to avoid burnout or manage burnout really is the basis for everything that I do here at Clinical Connections Mentoring. My main goal in literally everything that I do and share and teach you is to guide and support you to manage and avoid burnout in your rehab career, whether you're a PT or OT, speech therapist, whatever. Okay. There are far too many clinicians, even new grads, who are experiencing burnout to the point that they're already questioning if they've even, like, did I even choose the right career? Right. So that's what I want to do. I am not okay with that. It makes me really sad to kind of hear that clinicians, even new grads, are questioning whether or not they made the right decision, if they made the right career choice when they chose to enter the rehab world. Okay. Now, overwhelm comes from a lot of things, not just what you're experiencing at work. Okay. It can come from things outside of work, it can come from certain times of the year, like the holidays. It can come from people. It can come from situations that we find ourselves in. And oftentimes it's a combination of many of those things that really it's that combination of all those things. That's what really throws us into that feeling of overwhelm. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about where it comes from, what it can lead to, and I want to give you some strategies you can implement now if you are currently experiencing overwhelm so that you can start to manage it, turn that ship right around, put it in the right direction so that you don't fall down that path towards burnout. Okay. For anybody new here that is watching, I am Dr. Jody Miller. I'm a physical therapist and a mentor to PT students and new grads. Worked in just about every setting that you can think of. I have done acute care. I have done a lot of outpatient. I have worked in home health. I have done travel therapy. I've done pediatrics. I've worked in oncology. I have most of my career was in skilled nursing facility. I've been a rehab director at a skilled nursing facility. And now what I do is I own a cash-based practice in the Tampa area. I also am adjunct faculty at a PT school, and I'm also the owner of Clinical Connections Mentoring, which is where you are today. So, again, thank you for watching. So, as a new grad clinician, or maybe a clinician who is also a mom, or maybe you're a clinician who just has a lot on their plate between life and work, you may be feeling overwhelmed and stressed with your current situation. Problem is, you may have been led to believe that others around you, like everybody around you, they're leading you to believe that this is just how it is, right? It's a busy time of year, so you just got to figure it out. Or that's what happens when you choose to work full time and raise small children. Or this is just how it is to be a PT. As a clinician, it's your responsibility to deal with it or push through it, or even there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to get over this hump. That probably has you feeling frustrated and deflated, and maybe you've kind of even reached that enough is enough point, right? That ugh, just that enough is enough feeling. Makes total sense that you would feel that way. But what I know and what I believe is that you don't have to experience overwhelm over and over and over again in your career, okay? Or even in your life. You also don't have to figure out what's best for you on your own. So, my goal today is to help you figure out how and where to make some changes so that you can manage your overwhelm and still enjoy your career and your life. Okay, so let's start with talking about what overwhelm is. So, feeling overwhelmed is when a person is just overcome with so many thoughts, emotions, even some physical sensations that they have a hard time managing everything. This is a completely normal response when everyday stressors become too much. Everyone is going to experience this. This response is completely normal. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, don't be like embarrassed or ashamed by it. Don't feel guilty by it. Everybody experiences overwhelm. Okay. Overwhelm happens when someone has just reached their limit of stressors, when it all just becomes too much to handle. Okay. So, what are some of the signs and symptoms of overwhelm? So, one sign is the inability to think rationally, right? This makes the problem feel much bigger than it is, and it makes you feel like you're unable to handle it. Have you ever sat down to start a project that seemed like it was going to take you hours to do, but it ended only taking like 45 minutes? Right. I do this all the time. I look at the thing that I have to do, right? And I imagine that this is going to take way more time than it actually does. So this is an example of just thinking irrationally. Like you think that the problem in front of you or all these things coming at you are actually bigger than they really are. Okay. Another sign or symptom of overwhelm is paralysis. So this is actually a freeze response. So we have the flight, the fight, and the freeze response, right? Sometimes we get that freeze response where we feel like we're just unable to function. We can't do that thing right now, so we just freeze. Looks a lot like procrastination, where you find yourself postponing tasks or avoiding tasks altogether because the idea of just doing that task just feels so impossible to tackle right now. So procrastination is actually a result of being or feeling overwhelmed. It's just too much right now, so we put it off and we procrastinate. Okay. Another sign of overwhelm is having a bit of an overreaction. Okay. So overreacting to an otherwise minor stressor. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, your response is disproportionate to that stressor. Like you freak out when you can't find your phone, right? Or you're late to something and the kids they don't have their shoes on and you're in late and you got to get this and you got to get that. And you can't find your key, so you freak out, right? That's an example of an overreaction to being overwhelmed. Okay. Another sign is withdrawal. So you find yourself avoiding your friends and your family. You may feel like they can't help you or that they just can't understand what you're feeling. If you notice that you're starting to withdraw yourself from other people that you normally spend time with, you might be in overwhelm. Okay. Pessimism is another sign. So you feel helpless about your current situation. You feel like there's nothing that you can do, nothing can help right now, right? Just pessimism, some cynicism, just no, this is just bad. Like everything sucks. Nothing can help. Okay. If you're feeling that, you might just be in that sense of overwhelm. Okay. You can also have mood changes. So feeling anxious or angry or extra irritable when you normally tend to be really calm or happy. If you notice a big shift in your mood, you're more anxious, you're angry, little things are kind of setting you off to those overreactions. You might be in some overwhelm. Okay. And then there are some cases of chronic stress where you can experience some physical symptoms. So things like increased heart rate, dizziness, fatigue, headaches, upset stomach, all those things. Now, if you're experiencing the physical symptoms of overwhelm, this can lead to more serious things like high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, anxiety, depression, all those things. Okay. Once had a professor who said stress causes sticky platelets. Sticky platelets lead to things like high blood pressure and heart disease. So we do not want sticky platelets. Okay. Being in a chronic state of stress and overwhelm can certainly lead to all of that. Right. So decrease your sticky platelets by decreasing some of the stressors. Okay. So let's talk about now what causes overwhelm. Okay. It most often happens when we're dealing with a lot of things at once, like I said earlier. So maybe being really busy at your full time job while you're also feeling busy at home while you're raising your three children. Okay. Or you're juggling three PRN jobs that are all asking you to work while you're also trying to prepare for the upcoming holidays. Okay. Or maybe your boss is asking you a lot at work while deep inside, you're already feeling stress and anxiety about spending some time with extended family coming up, whether it's a vacation or holidays or whatever. Deep down, you have the stress and anxiety of being with your extended family, but then your boss is already asking you to do all these other things on top. Okay. Or maybe you're just slammed at your full time job. You're working over 40 hours a week. And you know that you also agreed to work 2 weekends a row at your PRN job. Okay. Or maybe you're just trying to do all the things to start your own business. You're doing the marketing and the networking, and you're building a website, and you're trying to create a social media phone by posting every day while also trying to take care of a 2-year-old and also trying to figure out how to care for your mom who has multiple health issues, right? So it can happen when we're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff at one time, not just one stressor, but like five stressors all falling onto you at the same time. Okay. It can also happen when we don't feel like we have control over a situation, right? Chaos is happening around you. Nothing is going how you wanted it to, how you hoped it would go, how you planned it would go, right? Chaos can also throw us into a sense of overwhelm. And it can also happen when you aren't organized or when you're trying to wing it, right? Especially when it comes to like a big project that you want to get done and you sit down to crank out that big project. And then you start to realize, ooh, this is way bigger than I thought it was going to be, right? This is way more work than I originally thought or planned it out to be. And you realize that all the things that you actually need to do for this big project is just going to become too much, right? Can also come from other problems that just tend to pile on top of each other, right? So you have your financial concerns, health concerns, any traumatic experiences you've had recently, major life changes, whether they are good changes or bad changes, like moving, right? Getting a different job, still a major life change that can pile on top. And on top of that, maybe you have conflicts with friends and family, right? So you already have, everybody pretty much already has financial concerns, health concerns, life changes, right? Conflicts with people. But then you add all these other things. Oh, my boss wants me to do this. Oh, I agreed to work at this PRN job. I'm already working over 40 hours a week. I've got two kids to care for. And now my mom is sick, right? You add all these things on, and that's what can lead to overwhelm. Okay. So, what can you do about overwhelm? Okay. You can challenge your perspective on the situation, right? Just start with that. Challenge your perspective. So try to pause, ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Okay. Take a look at the entire situation around you. Try to calm it down. Calm it down and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Am I anxious? Am I just stressed? Am I like what am I feeling right now? You want to stop that emotional cycle that you're in because the more that you festinate on that feeling of overwhelm, the more stressors you will experience and the loop is going to continue. Okay. So that's why recognize what are you actually feeling in this moment? Can you calm down that emotion a little bit? If you look at the entire, step back and look back for the entire situation, can you calm down that emotion? Because if not, you're just going to keep that cycle going and it's just going to tumble into a bigger problem. Okay. Take a deep breath, maybe do some grounding, go for a walk, whatever it is, but try to get perspective on the situation and really try to figure out what is causing this feeling that I have right now? What is causing this feeling of overwhelm? Okay. Another strategy is planning and getting organized. This can avoid, organize being organized and planning everything out can really help to avoid or manage overwhelm. Okay. So if you've got a big project that you want to complete, right? Step one is create a step by step plan of how you want to tackle that project. Right. So remember when I talked about one of the reasons is you sit down to do a project and it becomes way bigger than you thought. Well, if you plan this project out, step by step, that can really help you feel less overwhelmed. So start with a weekly plan, work down to a plan for each day. I want you to pick 3 tasks that you want to tackle each day and plan these out ahead of time. Okay. When you sit down to work on a project, you will then know exactly what you need to do that day instead of being distracted by all the things you need to do for that project. So you've got this big project coming, you're going to break it down. This is what I want to get done this week. This means I need to get on Monday, I need to do this. Tuesday, I need to do this. Wednesday, I need to do this, right? Then when you sit down to do that thing, okay, Monday, I got to do A, B, and C, and that's what I'm doing today. Okay. It can really help to manage that feeling of overwhelm, feeling that you have to do all of these things. You've already figured out what you need to do for the day. You sit down and you do it. Okay. That's sticking. It's a kind of a rule of 3. I tell you, stick to that rule of 3. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, even if you haven't planned it out, if you're feeling overwhelmed, I want you to focus on 3 things that are most important to get done today, right now, right? That could be taking a nap, cooking dinner, and going for a walk. right? If that is what is most important, that is okay. Because if you aren't okay, then none of the other stuff matters. It's going to continue to pile on you and feel overwhelming, right? Some days your three things may be treating your patients, taking your son to the pediatrician, and putting up the Christmas decorations. Other days it might be watching a rerun of Friends, cooking, meal prepping on Sunday, and doing the grocery shopping. It's okay. You don't have to do everything every day. Pick the three things that are most important to get done today, and that's what you're doing. Okay. It's okay if some days are busier than others, but I just want you to focus on the three things that need to get done that day. Okay. I've recently experienced a lot of overwhelm. I'm currently doing a lot of things. I'm teaching a course. I am tutoring a lot of students. I have my own PT patients. It's almost the holidays. I have got two kids who are quite busy. I have really been experiencing a lot of overwhelm. And for me, it was just a lot of stuff at the same time. Okay. What has helped me is one to pause and say, okay, what's happening right now? What do I need to focus on? What are the three things that I need to get done today? Okay. I also have planned a lot of this out. Okay. Now you can only plan for what you know. So I planned for what I knew. I knew what I was going to do when I was teaching my course. I know how I need to take care of my kids. And I pretty much know what patients I'm going to see. Right. I was not expecting all the tutoring students that signed up for tutoring from me or mentoring from other clinicians. I was not, that was I planned some of it, but not the amount that I got. Okay. So because I did plan some things that allowed me to, okay, today I need to do this, right? Yes, there were some unexpected things added on. That's what helped made me to feel overwhelmed. But once I figured out these new things were happening, then they got a place in my 3 day plan, in my plan, my rule of three for each day. Okay. So my point is, I've experienced it. I know how you're feeling if you're feeling overwhelmed. What has worked for me is pausing, looking at the entire situation, and planning everything out, and focusing on my rule of three for each day. Those are the three things. If I do extra, great. Okay. But I want to get these three things done. If I have the energy to do more, okay. If I don't, I just need to do these three things. That has really helped me with my overwhelm. Okay. The last thing you can do if you are feeling overwhelmed is to ask for help or support, right? You don't have to tackle this world on your own. Use your friends, use your family for help, okay? Can your spouse take the kids to practice instead of you today? Can your mom pick up your dry cleaning? Can Uber Eats make dinner for tonight, right? You don't have to make dinner every night. If it's too much for you that day, order it. It's okay, right? Can a colleague take your student for the day in the clinic so that you can go to your doctor's appointments? Can the babysitter watch the kids so you can get a date night with your spouse? Can you hire someone else to hang the outdoor Christmas lights? Help is always there. You just have to ask for it. There are people willing to help you. Okay. Society kind of makes us feel like we got to do it all. That's not true. Okay. People are there to help you. And if you don't ask for help, the answer is always going to be no, and you will always have to do all of the things. Ask your people for help, ask your friends, ask your family. You can also ask me. This is where I come in because I get it. This can be very hard. You want to be a great clinician, but you also want to enjoy your life and you want your family and friends. You want to be able to treat all your patients and help them effectively. But you also kind of want to enjoy life outside of work, right? If you're constantly overwhelmed, joy is really hard to find. Okay. As a clinician, maybe even you're a new grad, I know that you're excited for the new challenges ahead. And you may also feel a little bit nervous about the future and what to expect. And I know that you do not want to feel stressed and overwhelmed all the time, and you certainly don't want to burn out. You can absolutely love this career that you have chosen without constantly feeling overwhelmed. I'm telling you that it is possible. Okay. So if you'd like a little extra help in getting started with building the career that manages overwhelm and avoids burnout, send me a DM. Go ahead, drop ready in the comments wherever you're watching from. Let's just start a conversation about how I can help and some steps that you can take. If you want to dive a little bit deeper into learning how to build a career that is free of overwhelm and burnout and how to make time for you in a way that is specific to you, I invite you to fill out an application for my complete clinician program. Love to tell you more about it and what it can look like for you. So just so you know, the program covers way more than managing overwhelm and burnout. That's only part of it. Okay. It's a 6 month program. And during that 6 months, I'll help you improve your confidence as a clinician, build your communication skills to advocate what's best for you and your patients, strengthen your clinical reasoning skills. That's a big one. Learn the skills to be strong, motivating leader. Maybe you want to get into management. I can help you figure out how to do that. Discover the steps and the systems that you need to start your own business if that's what you want. Or maybe even learn how to transition to academics if that's where your career takes you. We have a whole different program specifically for faculty mentoring. Okay. In any capacity, I'd love to help you gain the power, the courage, and the confidence to build a career that is free of overwhelm and burnout, that allows you the freedom to love your job and enjoy your free time at the same time. Okay. I hope you learned something new today. Please go ahead and drop in the comments your aha moment or something that really stood out for you, something new that you learned. And I want to thank you for watching. As always, if you have any questions about what I talked about today, please feel free to message me or put your questions in the comments. I will definitely come back and answer them. Hope you have a good rest of your Thursday, and I will see you next time.